Think about the $100 million you're talking about in terms of violence prevention and violence interruption. How does that get spent?
We have strategically identified neighborhoods and blocks where the violence is most pervasive, where disinvestment has been historically implemented.
When you're talking about the $100 million, again, I'll just circle back to that for violence prevention. How is that being used again?
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to Huey Perception. So we're going to bring Chicago out to the front today, and we're going to check out what Mayor Brandon Johnson has going on over there. And see, I'm a big guy when it comes to talking about a lot of the crime, and I live in St. Louis. So with St. Louis, crime is big, but the way the city is split up is not as bad as people think. St. Louis has two parts to it. St. Louis has St. Louis City and St. Louis County. And with St. Louis City and County, when they split up a while back, they end up becoming smaller. So when they do all the numbers, they do them based off St. Louis City, which really has about maybe 300,000 or something like that people that live in the St. Louis City. So when you have that and you do any numbers of crime compared to that small amount of people, then yeah, it would look like the #1 murder capital. But in reality, if we add the I think 2 million that's in St. Louis County back with the 300,000 that's in St. Louis City, we are far below the amount of people that's being killed in St. Louis. So with that being said, that's just why I'm really a big advocate on stopping crime and at least lowering it. Crime will never be stopped. But I'm gonna tell you now, this place like Chicago is way worse than St. Louis. Chicago is crazy. So and the things that causes these places to be crazy is these laws and the laws that are put in and passed, and this mindset, this woke mindset, is what really pushes the crime over the edge. And then when you have bail reform that is like insane, when you look into it, people are not getting punished on the level that they should be. So they turn around and do crimes again. Like this guy here is probably, I thought the mayor before was woke, but this guy here is over the edge. I mean, this guy here wears the crown for it. So with that being said, let's check out the news article, listen to them, and we'll see where they at and how he plans on changing the city or doing whatever he planned on doing, because it's insane.
Mayor Johnson says the city has a multi-pronged plan to increase investments in communities most plagued by crime, though the specifics on how that plan will be put into action are still unknown.
It's not policing alone that can build a better, stronger, safer Chicago.
I fully understand where he's coming from when he says not policing alone. Of course it's not policing alone. The justice system needs to back the police. When the police is doing the arresting, the justice system needs to put down the punishments that are, well, that fits the crime. You can't give a person a week in jail for stealing a car with violence. What if that went wrong? That guy could have killed someone. Just imagine next time it goes wrong, that person can lose their life because you put him back on the street.
That has been the tactic over decades, and that's been a failed strategy.
After our sit-down interview, we heard from a number of city entities at a news conference, including the police department, public health, and business community on their roles in the mayor's community safety strategy.
Everybody has the same concern, and that concern, first and foremost, is a violent crime.
The police superintendent went on to say that officers are working to stop violent crime while policing constitutionally. He says the police department is also adding crime victim advocates, enhancing the family liaison program that focuses on supporting families of murder victims. The business community stepping up as well, working to raise important funding, approximately $100 million to support some of these efforts. That in addition to the $100 million the mayor allocated in his budget for violence prevention.
When you think about the $100 million you're talking about in terms of violence prevention and violence interruption, how does that get spent? How are you planning on using that in terms of, are you hiring violence interruption groups? How many people? What does that look like in terms of actual strategy?
We have strategically identified neighborhoods and blocks where the violence is most pervasive, where disinvestment has been historically implemented. And by doing this, we are going right at the problem.
When you're talking about the $100 million, again, I'll just circle back to that for violence prevention. How is that being used again? I mean,
Damn, you know you speaking the word salad when the interviewer I'm gonna have to ask this question again because, my God, what did you just say?
terms of
well, that's
how
already
many people, I mean, are
it's already being spent now. Look, the budget just passed, right? But we're already seeing the type of comprehensive collaborative approach that is yielding the results that I'm confident that those results are going to expand.
The public health commissioner today saying gun violence is a public health issue that deserves investment.
We are expanding the role of health professionals in crisis response. When someone is in crisis, they need professionals who understand how to respond to those crises.
Many city stakeholders obviously coming together today. Chicago city leaders say they'll move with urgency while implementing this community safety strategy, but they did not provide a specific timeline going forward.
All right, so you've seen all this. So this is my thing. I'm all for black people being in power and all that. But from what I'm starting to notice, I don't know, like 100% is my people ready for this or not? Because every time I see a black person in charge or a community of black people in charge, they are coming across the news with some kind of issue. And I know my people feel like they have been targeted when it comes to crime a lot. And I understand that completely. I understand that. Because, when you see a black person, naturally you'll think that they committing a crime probably before maybe 20 years ago, 30 years ago. But I think now times has changed to the point where people are not just looking at black people and just thinking, oh, they're committing crimes. Like it's changed quite a bit. And I think, and we are fighting for more change. I think this country has really done a lot to fight to get past the racist issues that we come across. We really fought a lot. I think a lot of people really done a due diligence when it comes to getting past racism. And what's making this whole stereotype of black people thing worse is black people being in charge and running entire city down the drain. You have townships burning through all the money because black people being in charge. You got crime going rampant because of black people. So there's a lot of us that's doing a lot of bad to this country that's bringing the spotlight on us. And Chicago, I love to visit Chicago. Chicago's a beautiful city. But if you went to Chicago lately, Chicago is becoming a desert. I mean, you have businesses running out of Chicago left and right. Why? Because there are no police. There's no policing. Crime is running rampant. You have teenagers committing more crime than adults. And then with them being teens, there's there's no real consequence for them. You take them to their parents, and their parents let them back out the next day. I'm telling you, this is what I think. If your son, a daughter, teenager, and they get in trouble, lock the parents up with them. Yeah, you find the parents, cool, whatever. But it doesn't mean anything to them. Start taking away their taxes. Start hitting them in their pockets. Start hitting them in them food stamps or whatever. That's gonna hurt. They will start taking control of them kids if you start hitting them where it hurts. Like, it's crazy. And I mean, we gonna keep our eye on Chicago, and let's pray that Chicago doesn't get any worse, which it probably will. I mean, this guy didn't try midnight basketball, get them jobs and all that. And you haven't heard one thing about the jobs since he implemented it in summertime. Like, it's crazy. But that's my perception. Keep your eyes open for the next video. Like and subscribe. And hey, help a brother out. Like and subscribe, because I'm going to keep bringing it to you and bringing some good stuff to you. All right. See you later.